The town of Windmere always felt like two different worlds stitched together. During the day, everything existed in sharp contrast: the crowded market, the busy streets, the arguments that erupted over prices, deliveries, or even the smallest contradictions between neighbors. People talked loudly, often over each other until their voices began to overlap like tangled threads. Lyra observed them quietly. She noticed how easily people began to disagree, how quickly opinions began to differ, even when the facts were the same. Her teachers said it was normal. The world was diverse, after all, filled with unique backgrounds, values, and stories. But Lyra felt the truth held more nuance than that. Why did small differences grow into conflict? Why did people stop listening to one another? These questions would not leave her alone. One breezy evening, Lyra carried a notebook to the town hill. She sat beneath the starlit sky, believing that everything meaningful started with careful thinking. Instead of guessing answers, she would rely on inductive reasoning. She would gather details, observe patiently, and build a thorough record of people's thoughts and patterns. Her notebook began with a simple plan: one star representing one human thought, one example, one instance. If she could understand even a single person deeply, she might understand everyone just a little more. The sky felt like a research partner, quiet, vast, and endlessly patient. Lyra was not the type to accept vague explanations. She wanted to confirm ideas with evidence, to demonstrate principles clearly, to illustrate hidden truths with stories and charts. She wanted to see how ideas manifest in real conversations, not just in books. More than anything, she wanted to prove that understanding people could be a real skill, not instinct, not luck, but something that could be learned. But to do that, she had to determine what questions mattered, decide who to study, and resolve any doubt that blocked her way. So she made a decision. She would study her entire town. The project began small. Lyra drafted a simple survey. Then she expanded it into a broader research plan. She spent evenings walking through the neighborhood, choosing corners where she could observe daily interactions without intruding. She knocked on doors to inquire about people's challenges, and when conversations grew complex, she would query their meaning carefully, making sure she truly understood. Soon, she designed a formal questionnaire filled with questions about dreams, fears, conflicts, and memories. The townspeople were surprised at first. "No one ever asks us these things," they said. Yet they answered, slowly, honestly, because someone was finally listening. Lyra brought all the completed questionnaires home and arranged them in a neat row on her study table. Every night, she added new stories to a growing queue of human experiences waiting to be understood. As she analyzed her data, she began to achieve something unexpected. She could predict misunderstandings before they happened. She accomplished the first goal she set for herself, building a map of emotional patterns. She attained clarity that once felt impossible. She discovered that behind every disagreement was a simple fear. Behind every contradiction was a longing to be heard. Behind every argument was a heart trying to protect itself. Understanding people suddenly felt like astronomy. Lyra was still a student at Windmere Academy, a school obsessed with credit, score, mark, grade, and rank. Her classmates believed their worth existed in numbers printed on report sheets. But Lyra now saw the world differently. A high rank didn't reveal kindness. A perfect score didn't explain insecurity. Her research showed more about people than any exam ever could. When her teacher discovered her project, he leaned back in surprise. "This is remarkable," he murmured. "This goes beyond academic performance." For the first time, Lyra felt she had done something that mattered. One afternoon, her teacher encouraged her to apply for a community grant meant for youth-led initiatives. Lyra applied with no expectations. The committee was strict, the acceptance rate low. Yet when the results were posted on the school bulletin board, Lyra saw her name on the list. Approved. Her classmates clapped. Her teachers offered soft praise, saying they deeply appreciated her idea. But what stayed with Lyra most was the handwritten feedback at the end of the letter. You neither underestimate the voices of ordinary people nor overestimate your own certainty. This humility is rare. Continue. Lyra folded the letter carefully and placed it inside her notebook. With the grant secured, Lyra was encouraged to apply for bigger programs, national competitions, academic camps, and youth conferences. Soon she was selected for a summer fellowship. Then she won a regional scholarship. Organizations sent her rewards, certificates, and badges. Later came invitations for award ceremonies and eventually a national prize for excellence in social research. But each email ended with a reminder, please pay the registration fee to confirm your participation. Lyra laughed. Recognition always seemed to come with paperwork and bills. Even success demanded budgeting. Windmere held its first Festival of Listening, a town event inspired by Lyra's project. Citizens gathered in the central plaza, participating in storytelling circles, empathy games, and reflection activities. Lyra walked among the booths, watching strangers form conversations that would never have happened before. An elderly man told her, "For the first time in years, someone listened to what I said. Really listened." A group of teenagers confessed that they discovered how similar their worries were. Lyra realized that her project had grown beyond her notebook. It was shaping her community. Before presenting her research to a national panel, Lyra stayed awake late into the night. Her notes covered the entire desk. Charts, diagrams, highlighted quotes. She felt nervous, not about her data, but about speaking in front of experts. On her balcony, the sky shimmered with scattered constellations. They reminded her why she started. People were stars, brilliant, distant, hopeful, each with their own truth, each with their own story. Her research was not about controlling people, but understanding them. Compassion, she realized, was the missing variable in every equation. When Lyra finally stood before the academic panel, her hands trembled, but her voice remained steady. She presented her process, how she built the survey, how she observed conversations, how she queried meaning gently, how she avoided underestimating or overestimating the people she studied. Then she said, "Listening is not passive, it is an active decision, a choice to pause, to care, to meet a person where they are." The room fell silent. Then the applause rose, slow, respectful, and deep. The panel did not just approve her project, they invited her to join a national research team dedicated to youth communication and community development. Lyra did not feel victorious. She felt connected. She finally understood what she wanted to do, not to chase ranks or prizes, but to help people understand one another. One conversation, one star, one moment at a time. When Lyra walked home that evening, the sky felt different. The stars shimmered like old friends. Her town glowed with warmth. Her notebook felt heavier, not with data, but with meaning. Understanding people was not a destination. It was a journey, a lifelong commitment to curiosity, compassion, and courage. She knew there would be more research, more questions, more stories, more discoveries waiting to manifest in the everyday lives around her. But tonight she simply looked up and appreciated the sky that had guided her mind and shaped her heart. For Lyra had learned something profound. The world changes when someone listens, and she intended to listen for the rest of her life.